£530. For heaven, I find one's ancestors are more valuable relations than I took them for. Ladies and gentlemen, your most obedient and very grateful, humble servant. Old Rolly! Gad, you're just in time to take leave of your old acquaintance.
I wonder you can have such spirits under so many distresses.
Aye, there's the point. My distresses are so many, I can't afford to part with my spirits. But here, my good Rolly, here, get me this changed and take £100 of it immediately to old Stanley.
£100? Consider only...
Gad's life, don't talk about it. Stanley's wants are pressing. And if you don't make haste, we shall have someone call who has a better right to the money.
Ah, there's the point, Charles. Be just before
you're generous. Aye, that's all very true. But hark ye, Rolly, while I have, by heaven, I'll give. So damn your economy. And now for hazard!
He comes. Shh, Rolly, over here. Well, what did he say? Did he talk further of me?
He has asked me to deliver £100 of the purchase money back to you. I mean, of course, in your character of old Stanley.
Oh, there's the pity of all. He's so damned charitable.
And I left a hosier and 2 tailors outside, who, like Master Moses here, will, I'm sure, be left unpaid.
Well, I'll pay his creditors. Every one of them. But we must be gone, Master Rolly. I am premium no longer, and you will introduce me to his brother Joseph as poor old Stanley. Come, friends, there's no time to waste.
Well, I think, as Sir Peter said, you have seen Mr. Charles in high glory.
True, but he wouldn't sell me picture.
It's a pity he's so extravagant.
But he wouldn't sell me picture.
And loves wine and women so much.
But he wouldn't sell me picture.
No letter from Lady Teasle?
No, sir.
I'm surprised she hasn't sent if she's prevented from coming. Sir Peter certainly does not suspect me, yet I hope I may not lose the heiress through the scrape I have got myself in with the wife. However, Charles's bad character is a great point in my favor.
Sir, I believe that must be Lady Teasle.
Hold! See whether it is or not before you go to the door. I have a particular message for you if it should be my brother.
'Tis her ladyship, sir. She always leaves her chair at the milliner's in the next street.
Stay. Draw this screen before the window. My opposite neighbor is a maiden lady of so inquisitive a nature. That will do. I have a difficult hand to play in this affair. Lady Teasle has lately suspected my interest in Maria, but she must by no means be let into that secret. At least not till I have her more in my power.
Have you been very impatient now? I vow I couldn't come before.
Oh, madam, punctuality is a species of constancy.
Oh?
A very unfashionable quality in a lady.
Oh, but I must tell you, Sir Peter has grown so ill-tempered to me of late.
Oh?
And so jealous of Charles, too. That's the best of the story, isn't it? Well, I'm sure I wish he would let Maria marry him. And then perhaps he'd be convinced. Well, don't you, Mr. Surface?
Oh, certainly I do, for then my dear Lady Teasle would also be convinced how wrong her suspicions were of my having any design on the silly girl.
Well, I'm inclined to believe you. Oh, but isn't it provoking to have the most ill-natured things said to one? And then there's my friend, Lady Sneerwell, has circulated I don't know how many scandalous tales of me. And all without any foundation, too. That's what vexes me.
Aye, madam, to be sure, that is the provoking circumstance, without foundation.
And Sir Peter, too, to have him so peevish and so suspicious.
But, my dear Lady Teasle, 'tis your own fault if you suffer it.
Huh?
When a husband forms a groundless suspicion of his wife and withdraws his confidence from her, the original compact is broken. And she owes it to the honor of her sex to endeavor to outwit him.
Indeed. So that if he suspects me without cause, it follows that the best way of curing his jealousy is to give him reason for it.
Undoubtedly, for your husband should never be deceived in you.
To be sure, what you say is very reasonable, but...
Now, my dear Lady Teasle, if you would but once make a trifling faux pas, you can conceive how prudent you would become and how ready to humor and agree with your husband.
Do you think so?
Oh, I'm sure on it. And then you would find all scandal would cease at once. For, in short, Your character at present is like a person in a plethora, absolutely dying of too much health.
So then I perceive your prescription is that I must sin in my own defense and part with my virtue to preserve my reputation?
Exactly so, upon my credit, Mom.
Why, if my understanding were once convinced.
Oh, certainly, madam. Your understanding should be convinced. Yes, yes, heaven forbid I should persuade you to do anything you thought wrong. No, no, I have too much honor to desire it.
Don't you think we may as well leave honor out of the argument?
Ah, the ill effects of your country education, I see, still remain with you.
I fear they do indeed. But I will fairly own to you that if I can be persuaded to do wrong, it is by Sir Peter's ill humor sooner than your honorable logic. After all.
Then by this hand, which he is unworthy of. Steph, you blockhead, what do you want?
I beg pardon, sir, but I thought you wouldn't choose Sir Peter to come up without announcing him.
Sir Peter? Who's the devil?
Sir Peter, oh, lad, I'm ruined. I'm ruined.
Sir, it wasn't I. Let him in.
What will become of me now, Mr. Logic? Oh, mercy, he's on the stairs. I'll get behind here. And if I am ever so imprudent again.
Give me that book.
Aye, ever improving himself. Mr. Surface? Mr. Surface?
Oh, my dear Sir Peter, I beg your pardon. I've been dozing over a stupid book. Well, you haven't been here since I began fitting up this library. Books, you know, are the only things I am a coxcomb in.
It is very neat indeed. And you make even your screen a source of knowledge, hung, I perceive, with maps.
Oh, yes, I find great use in this screen.
Yes, I dare say you must, certainly. When you want to find anything in a hurry.
Aye, or to lose anything in a hurry either.
Well, I have a little private business.
You needn't stay.
No, sir.
Here's a chair, Sir Peter, I beg.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Well, now we are alone. There is a subject, my dear friend, on which I wish to unburden my mind to you. In short, my good friend, Lady Teazle's conduct of late has made me extremely unhappy.
Indeed?
Yes.
I am very sorry to hear it.
Yes, 'tis but too plain she has not the least regard for me. But what's worse, I have pretty good authority to suspect she must have formed an attachment to another.
You astonish me.
Yes, and between ourselves, I think I have discovered the person...
How? You alarm me exceedingly.
Ah, my dear friend, I knew you would sympathize with me.
Yes, believe me, Sir Peter, such a discovery would hurt me just as much as it would you.
I am convinced of it. But have you no guess who I mean?
I haven't the most distant idea. It can't be Sir Benjamin Backbite.
No, no. What say you to Charles?
My brother? Impossible.
Ah, my dear friend, the goodness of your own heart misleads you. You judge others by yourself.
Certainly, Sir Peter, the heart that is conscious of its own integrity is ever slow to credit another's treachery.
True. But your brother has no sentiment. You never hear him talk so.
Yet I cannot suspect Lady Teazle's honor.
Oh, I'm sure I wish to think well of her and to remove all ground of quarrel between us. She has lately reproached me more than once with having made no settlement on her. And in our last quarrel, she almost hinted that she should not break her heart if I was dead.
Oh.
Now, as we seem to differ in our ideas of expense, I have resolved that she should be her own mistress in that regard for the future. And if I were to die, she shall find that I've not been inattentive to her interest while living. Here, my friend, is the draft of a deed which I wish to have your opinion on. By it, she will enjoy 800 a year independent while I live, and the bulk of my fortune after my death.
This conduct, Sir Peter, is indeed truly generous. I hope it may not corrupt my pupil.
But now, my good friend, if you please, we will talk over the situation of your hopes with Maria.
No, Sir Peter. Another time, if you please.
I am sensibly chagrined at the little progress you seem to make in her affection.
I beg you will not mention it. What are my disappointments when your happiness is in debate?
And though you are so averse to my acquainting Lady Teazle with your passion, I'm sure she's not your enemy in the affair.
Pray, Sir Peter, now oblige me. I am really too much affected by the subject we have been speaking on. Oh. The man who is entrusted with his friend's distresses can never... Well, sir!
Your brother, sir, is speaking to a gentleman in the street and says he knows you are within.
Steph, blockhead, I'm not within. I'm out for the day.
Stay, hold. You shall be at home. A thought has struck me.
Well, let him up. You'll interrupt Sir Peter, at least.
Now, my good friend, oblige me, I entreat you. Before Charles comes, let me conceal myself somewhere. Then do you tax him on the point we've been talking on, and his answers may satisfy me at once.
Oh, fie, Sir Peter. Will you have me join in so mean a trick?
Nay, you say you are sure he is innocent. If so, give him an opportunity to clear himself, and you will set my heart at rest. Come, you shall not refuse me. Here, behind the screen of... Hey, what the devil? There seems to be one listener here already. I'll swear I saw a petticoat.
Well, this is ridiculous enough. Harkee. 'Tis a little French milliner, a silly rogue that plagues me, who, having some scruples on your coming, she ran behind the screen.
Oh, you rogue! But egad, she's overheard all I've been saying of my wife.
Oh, but 'twill never go any further.
No?
You may depend on't.
And in faith, let her hear it out. Here, in your book chest would do as well.
Oh, you cannot possibly.
Egad, he's coming.
Well, get him then.
Sly rogue, sly rogue.
Very narrow escape indeed.
Couldn't I steal off?
Keep close, my angel.
Joseph!
Tax him. Oh, down, my dear friend.
Couldn't you lock Sir Peter in?
Be still, my
Are
life.
you sure the little milliner won't blab?
In, my dear Sir Peter. Gad, I wish I had a key to the lock.
Brother, what has been the matter? Your fellow would not let me up at first. What, have you had a moneylender or a wench with you?
Neither, brother, I assure you.
What has made Sir Peter steal off? I thought he'd been with you.
He was, brother, but hearing you were coming, he did not choose to stay.
What? Was the old gentleman afraid I wanted to borrow money of him?
No, sir. But I'm sorry to find, Charles, that you've lately given that worthy man grounds for great uneasiness.
Yes, they tell me I do that to a great many worthy men. But how so, pray?
To be plain with you, brother, he thinks you're endeavoring to gain Lady Teazle's affections from him.
Oh, Lord, not I, upon my word. So the old fellow's found out he's got a young wife, has he? Oh, what's worse, has her ladyship discovered that she has an old husband?
This is no subject to jest on, brother. He who can laugh...
True, as you were going to say. Then, seriously, I never had the least idea of what you charged me with, upon my honor.
Well, it will give Sir Peter great satisfaction to hear this.
To be sure, I once thought the lady seemed to have taken a fancy to me. But upon my soul, I never gave her the least encouragement. Besides, you know my attachment to Maria.
But sure, brother, if Lady Teazle had betrayed the fondest partiality for you...
Well, I hope I shall never deliberately do a dishonorable action, but if a pretty woman were purposely to throw herself in my way, and that pretty woman married to a man old enough to be her father...
Well?
Well, I think I shall be obliged to borrow a little of your morality, that's all. But, brother, you know now you surprise me exceedingly by naming me with Lady Teazle. For faith, I always understood you were her favorite.
Oh, for shame, Charles. This retort is foolish.
I swear I've seen you exchange such significant glances.
Nay, sir, this is no jest.
Yet I'm serious. Don't you remember one day when I called
Nay,
here
pity, Charles.
and found you together?
Soon, sir, I insist.
And another time when your servant...
Brother, a word with you. Gad, I must stop him.
Inform me, I say.
Hush! I beg your pardon, but Sir Peter has overheard all we have been saying. I knew you would clear yourself, or I should not have consented.
How, Sir Peter?
Softly.
Where is he? Oh, get out. There. For heaven, I'll have him out.
No.
Sir Peter, come forth. No. Sir Peter, I say, come into court. What? Me old guardian? What, turn inquisitor and take evidence incognito?
Give me a hand, Charles. I believe I've suspected you wrongfully. Yeah, but you mustn't be angry with Joseph. It was my plan.
Indeed.
Yeah, but I acquit you. I promise you I don't think near so ill of you as I did before. What I've heard has given me great satisfaction.
Gad, it was lucky you didn't hear any more, wasn't it, Joseph?
Ah, you would have retorted on him.
Aye, that was a joke.
Yes, I know his honor too well.
Yeah, but you might as well have suspected him as me in this business for all that, mightn't he, Joseph?
Well, I believe you.
Well, they were both out of the room.
And in future, perhaps we may not be such strangers.
Lady Sneerwell, stop her by all means. They must not be left together. I'll send Lady Sneerwell away and return directly. Sir Peter. Not a word of the little French.
Oh. Oh, Charles, if you associated more with your brother, one might indeed hope for your reformation. He's a man of sentiment.
Sure.
Well, there's nothing in the world so noble as a man of sentiment.
He's too moral by half and so apprehensive of his good name, as he calls it, that he'd sooner let a priest into his house than a girl.
No. No. Joseph is no rake, but he's not such a saint in that respect either.
Oh, hang him. He's an anchorite, a very hermit.
Harky, you must not abuse him. He may chance to hear of it again, I promise you.
Why, you won't tell him?
No, but this way.
Eh?
Do you mind to have a good laugh at Joseph?
I should like it of all things.
Yes. Then in faith we will. He had a girl with him when I called.
Joseph, you jest.
A little French milliner. And the best of the jest is she's in the room now.
The devil she is!
No.
Behind the screen. Live. Let's unveil it.
No, you shan't escape it. No.
Yeah, we shall have a peep at the little villain.
Oh, not for the world. Joseph would never forgive me.
I'll stand by you.
Oh, here he is.
Lady Teasel, by all that's wonderful.
Lady Teasel, by all that's horrible.
Sir Peter, this is one of the smartest French milliners I ever saw. Gad, you seem all to have been diverting yourselves here at hide and seek. And I don't see who's out of the secret. Shall I beg your ladyship to inform me? Not a word. Brother, will you please to explain the matter? What? Morality dumb too? Sir Peter, though I found you in the dark, perhaps you are not so now. All mute. Well, though I can make nothing of the affair, I suppose you perfectly understand one another, so I'll leave you to yourselves. Brother, I am sorry to find you have given this worthy man so much uneasiness. Sir Peter, there's nothing in the world so noble as a man of sentiment.
Sir Peter, notwithstanding, I confess that appearances are against me. If you will afford me your patience, I have no doubt, but I can explain everything to your satisfaction.
If you please.
The fact is, Sir, Lady Teasel, knowing my pretensions to your ward Maria...
What?
I say, Sir, Lady Teasel, being apprehensive of the jealousy of your temper...
What?
And knowing my friendship to the family, she, sir, I say, called here in order that I might explain those pretensions. But on your coming, being apprehensive, as I said, of your jealousy, she withdrew. And this, you may depend on, is the whole truth of the matter.
It's a very clear account, upon my word. And I dare swear the lady will vouch for every article of it.
Not one word of it, Sir Peter.
How? Don't you think it worthwhile to agree in the lie?
There is not one syllable of truth in what this gentleman has told you.
I believe you upon my soul, ma'am.
Death, madam, will you betray me?
Good Mr. Hypocrite, by your leave, I will speak for myself.
I shall let her alone. You'll find she'll make out a better story than you, without prompting.
Hear me, Sir Peter. I came here on no matter relating to your ward, and even ignorant of this gentleman's pretensions to her. But I came seduced by his insidious arguments, at least to listen to his pretended passion, if not to sacrifice your honor to his baseness.
Now I believe the truth is coming indeed.
The woman's mad.
No, sir, she has recovered her senses. Sir Peter, I do not expect you to credit me, but the tenderness you express for me, when I'm sure you could not think I was a witness to it, has penetrated my heart. And had I left the place without the shame of this discovery, my future life should have spoken the sincerity of my gratitude. As for that smooth-tongued hypocrite who would have seduced the wife of his too credulous friend while he affected honorable addresses to his ward, I behold him now in a light so truly despicable that I shall never again respect myself for having listened to her.
Notwithstanding all this, Sir Peter, heaven knows...
That you are a villain, and so I leave you to your conscience.
You are too rash, Sir Peter. You shall hear me. The man that shuts out conviction by refusing...
Ah!
Mr. Stanley to see you, sir.
Mr. Stanley? Why should you think I would see him? You must know he comes to ask something.
Sir, I should not have let him in, but that Mr. Rowley was at the door with me. He's coming upstairs.
Pure blockhead! To suppose that I should now be in a temper to receive visits from poor relations. Mr. Stanley, I presume?
At your service.
Sir, I beg you will do me the honor to sit down.
Oh, dear sir, there is no occasion.
I entreat you, sir. I have not the pleasure of knowing you, Mr. Stanley, but I'm extremely happy to see you look so well. You were closely related to my mother, I think?
So closely that my present poverty, I fear, may do discredit to her wealthy children.
Sir, there needs no apology. He that is in distress, though a stranger, has a right to claim kindred with the wealthy. I am sure I wish I was one of that class, and had it in my power to offer you even a small relief.
If your uncle, Sir Oliver, were here, I should have a friend.
Oh, dear sir, you are strangely misinformed. Sir Oliver is a worthy man, a very worthy sort of man, but avarice, Mr. Stanley, is the vice of age. I will tell you, my good sir, in confidence, what he has done for me has been a mere nothing. Though people I know have thought otherwise, and for my part, I never chose to contradict the report.
What? Has he never transmitted you bullion, rupees, pagodas?
Oh, dear sir, nothing of the kind. No, a few presents now and then. China shawls, Congo tea, songbirds, and Indian crackers. Little more, believe me.
Here's gratitude for 12,000 pounds, songbirds, and Indian crackers.
Then, my dear sir, you have heard, I doubt not, of the extravagance of my brother. There are very few who would credit what I have done for that unfortunate young man.
Not I, for one.
The sums I have lent him. Indeed, I have been exceedingly to blame. I don't pretend to defend it. And now I feel it doubly culpable, since it has deprived me of the pleasure of serving you, Mr. Stanley, as my heart dictates.
Then, sir, you cannot assist me?
At present, it grieves me to say I cannot. But whenever I have the ability, you may depend upon hearing from me.
I am extremely sorry.
More than I am, believe me. William, be ready to open the door.
Oh, dear sir, no ceremony.
You're very obedient.
Sir, you're most obsequious.
You may depend upon hearing from me whenever I can be of service.
Sweet sir, you are too good.
In the meantime, I wish you health and spirits.
You're ever grateful and perpetual humble servant.
Sir, yours as sincerely.
Now I am satisfied. In you go. I shall wait downstairs, then on to Sir Peter's.
Mr. Surface, your servant. I was apprehensive of interrupting you, but my business demands immediate attention, as that note will inform you.
Always happy to see Mr. Rowley. Oh, Oliver Surface! My uncle arrived.
He is indeed. We have just parted quite well after a speedy voyage and impatient to embrace his worthy nephew.
You astonish me. William, stop Mr. Stanley if he's not gone.
Oh, he's out of reach, I believe.
Why didn't you let me know this when you came in together?
I thought you had private business. But I must be gone to inform your brother and invite him here to meet his uncle. He will be with you in a quarter of an hour.
So he says. Well, I am strangely overjoyed at the thought of his coming. Never to be sure was anything so damned unlucky.
Oh, you will be delighted to see how he looks.
Oh, I am rejoiced to hear it just at this time.
I'll tell him how impatiently you expect him.
Do. Pray give him my best duty and affection. Indeed, I cannot express the sensations I feel at the thought of seeing him. Certainly his coming just at this time is the cruelest piece of ill fortune.
Indeed, ma'am, Lady Teazle says she will see nobody at present.
Did you tell her it was her friend, Mrs. Candor?
Yes, madam, but she begs you will excuse her.
Do go again. I shall be glad to see her, if only for a moment, for I'm sure she must be in great distress. Dear heart, how provoking. I'm not mistress of half the circumstances. We shall have the whole scandal in the newspapers, with the names of the parties at length, before I've dropped the true story at a dozen houses. Oh, dear Sir Benjamin, you've heard, I suppose.
Of Lady Teazle and Mr. Surface.
And Sir Peter's discovery.
Oh, the strangest piece of business, to be sure.
Well, I was never so surprised in my life. I'm so sorry for all parties, indeed I am.
Well, I don't pity Sir Peter at all. He was so extravagantly partial to Joseph.
Joseph? What is with Charles? Lady Teazle was detected.
Oh, no such thing. Joseph is the gallant.
No, Charles was the man. 'Twas Joseph brought Sir Peter on purpose to discover them.
I tell you, I have it from one.
And I have it from one who had it from one who had it from one immediately. Shh. But here's Lady Sneerwell.
So, my dear Mrs. Canber, here's a sad affair of our friend, Lady Teazle.
Ay, my dear friend, who would have thought it?
Well, there's no trusting appearances.
But have you heard the particulars?
No, but everybody says that Joseph Surface...
I told you, Joseph is the man.
No, no, indeed. The assignation was with Charles.
With Charles?
Yes, yes, he was the lover. Joseph, do him justice, was only the informer.
Well, Mrs. Canber, be it which it may, I hope Sir Peter's wound will not...
Sir Peter's wound? Oh, mercy, I didn't hear a word of their fighting.
Nor I. A syllable.
Oh, lad, yes, yes, they fought before they left the room.
Oh, pray let us hear.
Aye, do oblige us with the duel.
Sir, says Sir Peter, immediately after the discovery, you are a most ungrateful fellow.
Aye, to Charles.
No, to Joseph. A most ungrateful fellow, and old as I am, sir, says he, I insist on immediate satisfaction.
Aye, that must have been to Charles, for 'tis very unlikely Joseph should go to fight in his own house.
As life, ma'am, not at all. I insist on immediate satisfaction. Then, ma'am, Lady Teazle, seeing Sir Peter in such danger, ran from the room in strong hysterics, and Charles after her, crying out for brandy and water. Then, madam, they began to fight with swords.
With pistols, nephew, pistols. I have it from undoubted authority.
Oh, Mr. Crabtree, then it is all true.
All too true, ma'am. And Sir Peter's dangerously wounded.
By a sword thrust quite through his left side.
No, by a bullet lodged in the thorax.
Oh, mercy on me, poor Sir Peter.
Yes, ma'am, though Charles would have avoided the matter if he could.
I knew Charles was the person.
My uncle, I see, knows nothing of the matter.
A pair of pistols lay on the bureau.
What? I heard nothing of this.
Sir Peter forced Charles to take one, and they fired, it seems, pretty nearly together. Charles's shot took effect, as I told you, and Sir Peter's missed. But what is very extraordinary, the bullet struck against a little bronze Shakespeare that stood over the chimney piece, grazed out of the window at a right angle, and wounded the postman, who was just coming to the door with a large letter from Northamptonshire.
My uncle's account is more circumstantial, I must confess. But I believe mine is the true one for all that.
I am more interested in this affair than they imagine, and must have better information.
Ah, Lady Sneerwell's alarm is very easily accounted for.
Yes, yes, they certainly do say.
What?
But that's neither here nor there.
But pray, where is Sir Peter at present?
Oh, they brought him home, and he's in the house now.
No.
The servants are ordered to deny it.
Oh. Oh, I believe so. And Lady Teazle, I suppose, attending him?
Yes, yes. I saw one of the medical faculty enter just before me. This is he, the physician defendant. Well, doctor, what hopes?
Aye, doctor. How's your patient?
Now, doctor, isn't it a wound with a small sword?
A bullet lodged in the thorax for 100.
A small sword for 2.
Doctor, a wound with a small sword, a bullet in the thorax. Oons, are you mad, good people?
Perhaps he is not a doctor.
Truly, I am to thank you for my degree, if I am.
Only a friend of Sir Peter's then, I imagine. But, sir, you must have heard of his accident.
Not a word.
Not of his being dangerously wounded.
The devil he is.
Run through the body.
Shot in the breast.
By one Joseph Surface.
No, Charles.
The younger.
Hey, what the plague? You seem to differ strangely in your account. However, you agree Sir Peter is dangerously wounded?
Yes, there can be no doubt of that.
Then upon my life, for a person in that situation, he is the most imprudent man alive. Odds heart, Sir Peter. You are come in good time, I promise you, for we had just given you over.
Gad, Uncle. This is the most sudden recovery.
My man, what do you do out of bed with a small sword through your body and a bullet lodged in your thorax?
Small sword and a bullet? Why, what is all this?
We rejoice, Sir Peter, that the story of the duel is not true and are sincerely sorry for your other misfortune.